of our heroes, Dr. Neil Aggett. On this day, 28 years ago, he was murdered by the security police. We all know what had happened. Myself, and there are probably a few others here, who had just given evidence at the Agget inquest. It wasn't an easy period. It's always very difficult to relive the past. And I did become a bit emotional during my testimony, and I kept saying to myself the days before that, don't become emotional, don't. But I did become emotional. It's not easy. I didn't personally know Neil at the time, but what had happened was, suddenly I was given a visit, and I was brought to John Foster Square, and my wife Kamala came to see me. It was a terrible visit. It was a room full of security policemen who were shouting and screaming, using vulgar languages, and they told my wife, we're going to give you 5 minutes. They didn't even give us 5 minutes, they gave us probably 3 minutes. And I wondered now, what was your thinking? And driving back with the security police to Sweden, I saw a placard that says, "Debate found in cell," something to that effect. And I asked the policeman at Sweden police station what had happened, and he brought me the Citizen the next day. And the Citizen had the full story, and that's how I got to learn. I was shocked, depressed. You don't know what to think. You're all alone in a cell far away. But what I want to say is, and I think Shan made the point, that our struggle was a struggle about non-racialism. Our struggle was a struggle about human rights. When I was asked to make a closing statement at the inquest, I said that we had the TRC process. It wasn't perfect. It had its flaws, but I personally respected that process. And I and the rest of my family, we went to the TRC and we gave evidence. And to my knowledge, most of the security policemen didn't go to the TRC. So I believe that the law should take its course for those who didn't go to the TRC and those who were not given indemnity. Well, my evidence stopped on Friday, and I knew Monday morning I was going to be cross-examined by the lawyers for the security police. I was a bit apprehensive, he's going to cross-examine me about things that happened 38 years ago. But to my surprise, he apologized, and he said he was sorry for my treatment, and he told me that he acts for Captain Venter, and Captain Venter is also sorry. He said that Captain Venter acknowledged that he did assault me on numerous occasions, and he is sorry, and Captain Venter went to the TRC, and he admitted that he assaulted all of us, and he was granted indemnity. He now must come to the witness box, and he must tell us what happened to Dr. Agget. He must know. He was there. He must know, and he must tell us. And the courts must decide whether he can get his indemnity or not. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brahma.
No, you can clap. It's a celebration of a life and struggle. Please. Jill, I know this is difficult, but will you say a few words here, please?
Please, we can give her this as well.
All right. Any other media want me to do your work?
Can I just talk about Neil as a brother, as a child I knew from very young age, my little brother. He was we had a very loving relationship. We had a close family, but particularly Neil and I were very close together. Although I say I looked after him, he tended to look after me more often. he was only 28 when he died, and I think a lot of young people today cannot believe how much he achieved in those very short 28 years. I'm so proud of what he achieved. He was very strong, he was very determined, he had very high moral principles, and he stuck to those principles through thick and thin. I'm incredibly glad that we've reopened this inquest. The first inquest was a complete shambles and a cover-up, and is a shame on South Africa's history, a true, true shame. And I'm learning bit by bit as the witnesses come forward and tell us about their experiences in detention. I'm going to be rude, very rude, and say what a fucked up country it was, because it was. And now hopefully we're seeing a new dawn, and hopefully by opening up these inquests we'll learn more and give some of these victims some peace at last. They want to tell their story. They want to see people who perpetrated the most horrendous crimes in the dock, and they perhaps need some reparation. They've lived damaged lives, and I want to see that happen. So please, think of Neil, only 28 years old, with so much to give, and he hasn't been given the opportunity to give to South Africa what he hoped to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Liz? I saw Leslie. Don't want to say anything? No? Okay. We open it up now to anybody who wants to say anything, any reflections, any tributes. Morris?
Thank you. Thanks, Shane. You know, when I was in detention at the time of Neil's death, I missed 2 funerals. My father died a week after I went into prison with the second detention in November, and I wasn't allowed to go to that funeral. And then Neil died, and of course I couldn't go to that funeral either. In fact, this is the first time that I'm visiting Neil's gravesite since then. So thanks to the Qatar Foundation for organizing this. But I wanted to say to Prema something. On Sunday I had a chat with, before my testimony on Monday, I had a chat with Paul Verheyen, because I was also very concerned about being emotional. And he said, you know, it's not a problem to be emotional, because being emotional is an affirmation of your humanity. This whole inquest really is about, first of all, a person of great humanity, which Neil was, but it's also, it's a reaffirmation of, it's a restoring of humanity and dignity. Paul made it clear that actually crying is not a problem. It's actually, it's an affirmation of yourself and your own humanity. So I think it's very important that we all remember that. That it's not a problem to be emotional. It's not a problem to give vent to our feelings around these issues. Thank you.
Lovely. Anybody else want to follow up? No, don't be shy. There is TV here only, that's all. Anybody? Going? Trish, on behalf of Derek?